I was muted. I was muted. Your dream will do that too. So welcome in for the second time because I was muted. And I started off saying I've had these shirt malfunctions the last couple of days. This shirt is on the right way. It's just, I don't want to button it up this morning. All right. I don't want to button it up. It makes me feel claustrophobic. But the theme has been to go white all these days. And if you notice, my colors have been white and green and kind of like a pinkish color. Those are the colors of my brand. Thank you so much, Tanya Gilly, for helping me get myself together. So I was sharing, for those of you who haven't gotten to know me very well, I am Lori Pelzer. I am the CEO of Girl Go Be Great Lifestyle Success Company. I want to welcome you in to the midday session. This is the final stretch. We're headed to the end of the Dream Into Action Summit. We will conclude tonight at about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was also sharing with you when I was on mute that Girl Go Be Great Lifestyle Success Company and Girl Go Be Great Tech, what we do here. We started out about, it's been 12 years now, it was 2012, 2011. And around 2012, 13, my goal was very simple, to get out there in the industry to teach women what I have learned, how to grow my own business, which was a real estate firm. I unsuccessfully sold my first real estate firm. And then I couldn't sleep on the dream. The dream wouldn't let me sleep. The dream kept guiding me back to, you are not finished. This is not over. I sold the company for various reasons. And we're going to talk about that today as well. And that dream felt like it just simply died. And I knew the work wasn't over, but I took a route because of a circumstance, right? We're going to talk about that. So the dream reemerged itself. Then the crash of 08, 09 happened. And for 8, 9, 10, 11, I was in a struggle place, a really deep struggle place. And in that space, Girl Go Be Great was born. I mean, it had another name initially, and had not really formed all of its parts of the dream. You heard that yesterday from Dr. Stephanie Morrow out of Texas here in the United States. So I want to welcome you all in, Girl Greatness. Those of you who will see the replay, and you're joining from Africa, you're joining from the UK, you're joining from Canada. We've had speaker that's joined us from each one of these places across the globe, because our big goal, our go big, and we're going to be meeting a go big special guest speaker today at about 12:30. Our go big is to build in and on the continent, right? We have a global mission now, right? We've expanded the dream, and it is a big one, but it's very simple for me actually, because I believe that women across the globe need to learn and grow and expand her entrepreneur dreams as well. And I've been doing the research for a few years. I've been over working in Canada now for about 5 years. And my very first conference was a success, actually. And I said actually because we knew only one person there. We had about 100 and something women show up, and we knew only one person there. So we did groundwork and we did grassroots marketing. We used radio. We used also the power of the internet. So we've been doing the work a long time. We've done quite a bit of work here in the US. And in recent, I've gone to the continent of Africa, as well as I've gone to the UK. In London is where we're going to be focusing our work for women, underserved group of women, which is minority women, women of color and Black women. And what we're finding is this work is getting me very excited. My team is finding that I get real excited when I talk about this. I'm going to be talking about something right in a few minutes for us before we bring on our special guest. Your North Star, finding your dream in your North Star. So we've been a training and development company serving women entrepreneurs as she starts up, as she grows, and as she expands her business. We focused on things like marketing, building the premium brand, understanding the elements of those. The growth part is usually where you're trying to get all of the foundation laid when you start out the startup. And then the growth phase, you start to take and layer up from the startup, putting pieces in place that will build more revenue, build more market share, get to be known better. You'll probably start shifting your brand in a way that it meets more of who you are on an authentic level. You heard from Dr. Norma. And what'll happen is you then get real clear. Your deep desire, which is a dream also, your aspirations, the goal you want to reach starts to become more clear for you. And then when you get into expansion, you start thinking about 7 figures, you start thinking about 6 figures, 7 figures. And you could do that between the growth and the expansion. But the expansion phase, you start to do things like I'm doing, right? You start to see what other marketplaces you can move into. What is it in your blue ocean that's calling your name? And for me, I'd operated in this red ocean, which has been phenomenally important to me to serve women in my own space, meaning the US. First, I started local, then I branched out and started going state to state, doing what we call touring and sharing my vision with other women in other states. So I find that this is the perfect time for my dream to just go some places that I've never gone before. And that's what Girl Go Be Great is. So you'll start up, you'll grow, and you'll expand. And in those phases, you also have ebbs and flows. You'll get clarity in those phases. You'll let some things go. You will add some things. You will get support because the woman I'm bringing on at 12:30, I've had an opportunity to be a part of her $1 Million Woman uh, accelerator. And this accelerator helped me see so many pieces of my business that I'm operating in right now. I've read her book. Actually, I'm still reading it because I'm not finished yet. It's an incredible book. Go Big Now. Go Big Now. So you're going to get an incredible amount of information in less than 20 minutes or so. And you'll have an opportunity to join her later if you're ready for that next place. You know, one of the other things we're going to be doing, we started a tech division. So we're going to incorporate inside of our development and training for the women entrepreneurs is why it's important, it's vital to integrate and leverage technology in your business. That has to be at the top. You know, while we used to think, you know, getting your messages at the top is right. Absolutely. The target market you're after. Absolutely. Understanding how to build revenue. Absolutely. Reaching for that goal of 6 figures plus. That's what you're going to need. You're going to need multiple 6 figures in this new economy, which is becoming very global. And while we're working on revenue, we have to find what is the key to that revenue. So we're on a big plan. You know, how can I put it? We got a big plan. And I've been sitting in that, like, who am I going to work with next year to help keep the dream alive? Who would I work with next year that will help keep me on track and get this big dream of global, you know, moving in the right direction? All right. So while you're trying to figure it out, that's why you're here at the Dream into Action Summit. And what we're doing over here at Girl Go Be Great, we are fine tuning, which is clarifying. We're crafting a stable and sustainable plan. And we have revenue goals, but we mostly have a humanity goal. How many women's lives can we change? That's the first goal. That's the whole idea of my dream. It's always been to reach women and support her because I'm a girl and I'm a woman's woman. My story is that, right? This didn't just, you know, by osmosis happen for me because I wanted to make money in business. I was a military woman, then I was a nurse, trained in the military, and I have multiple talents, but they all come back to the core. So as a speaker, I love to empower women. You know, if I could just do that all day and get paid the right amount of money all day, I would do that all day. I would do it for free. I've done it for free. So a lot of times you can track your goal, your dream into would you do it if you didn't get paid to do it? And you've heard that probably before. So let's dive in a little further. We got a few minutes together. And then after this dream talk with Julia Pimser, we're going to then tap into, I've been promised you manifestation. So if you stay around today or come back, we will be tapping into that at the end of today midday session. So we're going to go to about 3 o'clock, but we also have another special guest, Allie, will be joining us from the UK. And we're going to be talking to her about how she created her restaurant business, her catering business. What was it about her dream that she absolutely had to get sold out for? We heard about that 100% the other night. And if you're not 100% sold out to it, even when it's failing, then no one else is going to be 100% sold out to it. You got to be willing to go places you've never gone, do things you never did, experience things you never thought you would experience. Saying yes sometimes to the most scariest, right? The things that make P feel like it's running down your leg, kind of scared. And that's how we actually make moves. That's how dreams get into action. You learned something with Dr. Stephanie Morrow yesterday. We don't have to kill ourselves to do it. We got to trust our bodies. And we talked about that prior to her coming on. Like, where does this idea land in your body? So let's get ready for today. North Star. How many of you heard about the North Star, right? I know you have. You learned it as kids. We learned a little bit about it in, you know, mostly we learned it in geography. I think, yeah, geography. And then over the lifetime, you may have heard it dropped here or there, depending on what circle of people you kind of hang out with. You know, we call ourselves the woo-woo people, the light workers. And we tend to read things like the New Earth, and we read and we tap into things like, let's see, Yeah, let's just stay there. The new earth, right? Or understanding things that Eckhart Tolle teaches. We tap into those because this is just what we believe gets humanity moving. We don't believe that there's one static conversation, and we don't believe that you can live on and create more from the old messages we grew up on. Because nobody in our house was talking about, and I probably could survey all about 100 women, and no one would say they heard enough messages about financial abundance versus money, how much we don't have, how much we need to save. We didn't hear those words, conscious, higher vibrational language. Okay, we talked about that. The North Star. Dreams are the greatest idea of who you are and who you can be. I truly believe that. Remember, we weren't going to talk about, lucid dreams and vivid dreams. We're going to go into that realm of it. But what we are talking about when you're awoke, right? And you start to build a goal. You have an aspiration. You have an idea, a vision. That side of the dreams. So they're the greatest. They're really just the greatest. And for me, I know they've guided me. And I recognize that would be that North Star. And I've always said this to people who ask me the question, with all you've been through, Lori, how are you still standing? I really never wanted to go through all the things I've had to experience. Some of these absolutely were what the universe had planned for me. I finally understand that. I finally have a deep connection to this was the plan that was set for me, right? And the shirt is not going to aggravate me. I'm going to leave it alone. And I recognize that I wasn't in control of what those experiences would be. There's this intelligence happening in the universe. We talked about universal intelligence 2 days ago. But there's an intelligence happening in the universe where the heavens and the universe are talking and you are part of the conversation. That might sound woo-woo, but it's absolutely what I know that to be. It's lined up with everything I've ever studied as a transformational expert. And I will tell you that it does feel woo-woo because we were never taught it. We were taught to believe only what we can see. Most of us. Imagination wasn't this big thing for us. Believing big wasn't this conversation for us. It's why we all love to go to Walt Disney if we tell the truth. Not just the kids. We want to go too. I remember my Walt Disney experience, and I remember it rained for 3 days, and I was so upset. So upset. We paid and we saved up and paid, went on a trip during the pandemic because there was very few people there. And I just thought there's no way. Oh my God, I want to see Mickey Mouse. And I just was all in, and it just rained too bad. We had to go back to the hotel. And the next day it rained again. North Star. So I found out how to answer that question, right? Welcome in, everyone. I was being directed by my North Star. And before I dive in it real quick, it reminded me of the fleeing of the slaves. Harriet Tubman, I was wondering, and I've always wondered until I studied it more, how a woman who couldn't read and couldn't write, how does she free that many humans to safety? How does she do it with literally pitch black darkness because of the amount of the vast trees? There's no streets, there's no street lights. How did she accomplish that? She had a dream. She would dream, and that's where, lucid dreams happen in a certain part of your REM sleep. And it became very vivid to her. She would have these moments, right? She would have these moments where she would then have to interpret what she received. Vision, download. I call it my throne room experiences, when I get something that I know that this is completely spiritual, this has no absolute, it's abstract, it doesn't make any practical sense. Yes, you're going to get practical guidance, and you've gotten that here. But there are some things that are so magical and they're so beyond this place that you just cannot trace them. You have to trust them. Remember, we talked about at day one, trusting, leaning into that. How does it feel in your body? What is it saying to your body? And there's a whole, studies around that, scientific studies. There's things like metaphysical understanding. And what's clear here is that she had a North Star. The North Star in the sky, if you really think about it like this, it is that core point, right? It's that fixed point of reference, like right here. Like if you just focus on my hand is, and let's just see that form. I'll open it up some. Fixed place of reference, and it guides you. It's a navigation. You see, if you follow my hand, I'm navigating you. It's a metaphor, though. A metaphor to finding your purpose, your mission, better known also as dreams, which is goals, aspirations, ideas, and visions. Just like the North Star helped the sailors. Yep, find their way. If you go do some, history work and learn how they navigated back in a time when there was no, directions in the water, but the water gets really black at night. Navigating that gives you a clear direction, some place to strive for to go. So it gives you the space to go. The North Star actually relatively remains fixed. So I'm moving it around. You'll follow me, but let's just use it right here. It's a fixed place in the sky, right? And it symbolizes the importance of having a stable and consistent lock on your goal to get that into action. Place for you to focus on right there. And it has personal meaning. It reflects a lot. There's a uniqueness about it where it reflects your individual values. Your individual values. So it's guidance, it's stability, and it's personal meaning. The dream has to be personal to you. The North Star is a metaphor, but metaphorically, it actually exists. That's how Harriet Tubman freed the slaves. She followed her North Star. And if you ever see that movie depicted, I loved it because it not only gave me chills of what freedom looks like, it gave me the understanding I too have had to find my dreams in the dark, following my North Star. I want that to sit in. I like to sit out and look into stars. You may not understand constellations. You may need to study it, but you got to find a star. You got to find your north. You got to dig into your life, like regain some understanding about who you are and what you want and where you're going. I'm in that work. Like, I don't know the exact time that it happened, but I can remember about a year and a half ago standing in my kitchen telling my daughter we probably won't make a whole lot of revenue in 23. And I remember telling her that because I'm headed into a new important part of my life. So we're going to be restructuring. We're going to be regaining what I feel that's showing up that we need to do to move into the next 5 years. These are going to be the best of the years because when you're clear, you can create. We got 2 more minutes before we bring on our special guest, Dream Talk speaker for today, Julia Pimser. And when you dream, you can drive the ideas of you forward. But you can't get forward unless you have some important steps to get into action. You can drive them forward when you dream. You don't dream, you don't really have any compass of anything. You're kind of like floating. So some of you may need to figure out how to dream again. Some of you are dreaming and you're in it. You're doing the work. But maybe you're doing it in a way that there's not there's always a right strategy. You could craft a right strategy and you could craft a wrong strategy. And I've done my share of wrong strategy, trust and believe me. But I'm so focused on my North Star guiding me even to this next place because I'm 55 in 2025. That is so symbolic. I'm not going to go into that today. I want to keep you in sync. But I will tell you that crafting this new stable and sustainable plan for myself, I've put to age 60, 55, 5 years. I want to be able to retire if I want to. But I know I won't be retiring fully. I'll be doing things very differently, right? I got 5 years that I want to really hammer pound the stone. There's a book I want you to get called Pound the Stone. Little book. You're going to love his books. Pound the Stone. And I know I'm 5 feet from greatness. There's another book, 5 feet from greatness. And I want you to gain this next statement is so very, very key. I understand going big now more than I understood it every time I attempted it. So if you've attempted it, it's okay. Jessica, we can bring our special guests on. I know Jessica and the team, they're all virtual. So it may be just a little lag here because everybody is in different time zones. Shout out to my team in Kenya. Shout out to my Pound the Stone. Not the star, Pound the Stone. I want to make sure you got it right because I probably was talking fast. Pound the Stone. Okay, she's not here yet. So that book and 5 feet from greatness, okay, is another book. There's 2 more books. Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. It's one of my, I call Bible books. Go Big Now is the title of the book written by Julia Pimsleur. And the reason I invited her on and the reason why I believe that her story is so important in this moment, her talk with us, is because of the way she did it, right? What she had to trust and what she had to do to get it in action. And when she wanted to quit, how that looked. And what she does today is so important that the work caught my attention. Each of you in this moment have been importantly chosen. Some of you showed up to every single day, and I want to shout you out, girl greatness. You rock. My clickers never came and my whistles, but I ain't let that stop me. I've had a few debacles in the back. When you're chosen, you can still roll. You can roll it with your fingernails toe up, because I didn't get to go get my nails on. I wanted these long, like spiky, not too long, spiky nails. I had this whole vision in my mind. But when you're importantly chosen, you have to be flexible, but still understand when you're chosen, you got to do the work. You got to ditch the self. I always say, it's the enemy to greatness, perfection. So the self-perfection you have to ditch that. Because the truth is, it's a depreciating value to your dreams. So you have to go and roll with what you got. This, how we roll, what it is, how we roll. You can't tell me I can't sing now because I'm a great speaker. So my voice, my course teacher told me that when I was in middle school. So she's not here yet. We all in different time zones. So let's keep going. What we want to talk about while we wait, and we'll just keep moving in this direction. We talked about the North Star, and we talked about how it is in this threefold, what it really means. Let's expand on that. So, how many of you realize that there is a guiding principle to dreams? That's what the North Star really is. It's a guiding principle. So what is your guiding principle? Have you ever established a true guiding principle? Okay. So part of what the practical application here is you must have a guiding principle. Because when you're in navigation, remember, following that North Star when you can't see, you can only trust, you'll be hit with challenges. Your challenges will be to stay focused. I don't want to talk about all the other challenges, but the challenge of staying focused. Staying focused. As I was preparing the content, I wrote this. I've got a lot of content. I'm going to put my glasses on to read my own writing. I said, in order to stay focused, because we're more like squirrels and monkeys. Our brain jumps places. It's called the monkey brain syndrome. And I remember teaching on that many years ago when I was teaching that 4-week boot camp, when I started out in the coaching realm of training and development for women entrepreneurs. Remember that? So we have the monkey brain, or we're squirreling around. You probably heard it when teachers used to say when we were growing up, stop squirreling in your seat. I saw a squirrel out yesterday, and my dog wanted to get to that squirrel. And that squirrel was doing some things. I stopped to observe the squirrel because I realized I'd already wrote this, and that was so phenomenal for me. So we find ourselves, right? The real challenge is to stay focused. So we're battling against not only that time poverty we talked about, but we're battling against the squirrel or the monkey brain syndrome. We're squirreling around in our brain. And how do we get our brain to settle down? Well, I got a special guest that was with us yesterday, Hadjadina Corbin, coming back tonight for us to talk briefly on how to get you balanced by the use of essential oils and what these the medicinal value in the oils really do to help balance you. You think that it's something you can do on your own. You think all you need to do is cut off friends, don't go out to this party, stop shopping. We think very linear in that. I want you to think a more wide view, that it takes a little bit more, right, to mix in to get you to this place of focus. We were never taught how to focus, but yet we've heard it over and over and over since little girls. Focus, 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 focus. We've been talking about my granddaughter, who my daughter raises now that they've moved out my home and now they're in their home, and I help raise her. And one of the things she struggles with is focus, not the desire. Well, that too sometime, but we recognize this is very metabolic for her. So on a metabolic level, you are maybe struggling with focus or having the monkey brain or the squirreling not because you're great at multitasking. That's really not anything we want to get excited about, because it's stopped dreams so many times. If we could focus in on one thing at a time, the power of productivity will help us reach our dreams. More importantly, we'll get there with more clarity, more better outcomes, right? With greater results. So notice your thoughts, right? Take some time. Assess your thoughts. Dr. Norma Hollis left us a lot. Take some time to assess your thoughts when your brain start running, right? We're all running on some type of script, and you may be running on I don't have enough, but you got the dream still over there asking you to give it some action. Oh my God, my taxes on my house due, or my car due, or I got to help my son or my daughter, or I got to help my niece, or I got to give somebody $100 that I owe, or I got to pay $1,000 here, or I got this going up. And the bigger things are taxes when they're due, because we know coming into 2025, we're going to be faced with those yearly things that we all have to do. There is one way to do this, and that is find a way to give your nervous system what it needs to focus. And then any and everything could come your way, and you can really handle it. You will learn how to handle it with the right tools. And one of those tools is essential oils. One of those tools, because it allows you to rebalance in those what chakras and in within the body, right? If you didn't give your body anything, how do you expect your body to give it back to you? Another very important key for you to get that monkey brain under control, that squirreling. We also sometimes develop nervous disorders. We develop anxiety and panic because we just never were taught how to get focused. On a metabolic level, that could be the issue. Meditate. It is called meditation practice. And I had to go back to get my meditation in this morning. So it was a really, really, really stretching couple days. This is a lot of work, a lot of conversations, a lot of commitment, a lot of connection. Connecting with each of you, connecting with the speaker who's joining me, prepared my content. So none of the work we all do to reach the dream is just easy peasy work. It requires something. So how did I get my brain focused this morning? Because I was a little more tired because I'm in menopause. So there are certain things I have to do to ensure that I am able to reach my daily dreams. So I didn't call them goals, my daily dreams, because they're all stacking up to take me somewhere, right? All right. So I had to go out. I had to get up. I had to get me a little bit of orange juice. I didn't want a lot because I didn't want all the sugar. I wanted to then drink 2 bottles of water. Okay. I did my 2 bottles of water, filtered water, spring water. I then got my dog together. He got to have his grounding now that I've introduced it to him. He laying here right now under my desk, well, on the other side, because I told him to get from under my desk and go on the other side of the desk. He don't want to be downstairs with my husband. My husband's going through a healing, so I'm going to come back to the point. This makes a very good point. He's going through a healing, so both of his feet, they have wounds, and he's got a lot of medical stuff happening, right? So it has different smells. So Casper's like, I'll get back with him when he smell better. Because he's be smelling his foot and smelling his leg, and he gets my husband get all upset. And I said, Melvin, dogs' senses are very high. That's how they navigate. So the key is I had to go ground. That's a good one too. Get your senses up and to navigate the dream. Oh, that was real good. Made me scratch my head on that one. So we grounded. He had to get his. I had to get mine. Then it was trash day. I didn't do it yesterday. I did it this morning. So when I got back in, I had a quick conversation with the team. I took my shower. And guess what happened? I felt rebalanced. I turned on energy music. I unplugged from everything else to focus on this guiding principle, and my North Star guided me here to you for a great midday session. It wasn't enough that I prepared the content weeks in advance. It was important that I showed up connected to it. So if you say, Lori, what does that mean? That means you have to connect to the source energy that instead of listening to your outside influences. This source energy is guidance, right? It is how you also stay focused. Once you've grounded now, all right, you've done some things, whether it's use the oils, go do your power wall. 15 minutes in nature can reground you. You take a shower, right, with the right experiences around you. Maybe you need to get some rain music on. Maybe you need to redesign your bathroom to fit what you're trying to achieve daily, because the world is noisy, girls. Okay, girl greatness. The world is noisy to the point people have committed suicide since COVID in record numbers. People have given up on marriages. People have decided that they no longer themselves want to be around people. More social anxiety disorders are popping up. People are struggling with mental wellness in record numbers. So as you get grounded, you will find staying focused, which is a very key element to reaching dreams, meaning getting them into action. And like I said, there are different ways to do that. But if you put them all together, you're a bad mamma jamma. And you don't have to perpetrate it. You don't have to fake it. Because we can't fake our energy being low but so long. It shows up somewhere in our body. It shows up in our head, like you heard from Sharmitra Johnson about exfoliation. That exfoliation is what I go there for real though, for real. And I can feel my scalp, right? Breathing. I can feel purpose. I can feel that happening. So I want to keep going. When we develop this habit of grounding to stay focused, stay with me, grounding to stay focused, connected with that source energy I just talked about, which is you and the universe and the heavens, how y'all know dreams start popping? How y'all know ideas start flowing? How you know that the strategy will come, the person to support, know where you need to go. Like, oh, I need to work with Girl Go Be Great, Lifestyle Success Code. I'm solid now. I feel it. I want to work with Lori on a one-to-one. I shared a little bit about that yesterday. You can work with my company with a one-to-one. Our new website is under construction. It will be ready before Thanksgiving. And that's exciting because it's been in the making now for 2 years. We had a big letdown. We paid someone over $7,500 that walked away with my money, our money, the company money, and we were only able to retrieve $1,500 of that back. And I've been going through the process of, I went through the 7 stages of grief. Let's just leave it there. And then I decided I was going to sue her and go to her state. We know where she is, and sue her because I have every right to, right? But as I kept sitting in and kept sitting in and kept sitting in it, she didn't just, lose a valuable client. She lost a whole lot more that she doesn't even know and understand yet, because I'm a very special individual. And so karmic energy is at play. She messed with my dream of an incredible website. We did all this work, all these sessions for like 7 weeks of getting all the integral pieces. And then I got completely crushed. So I had to find my way back. I had to crawl for it. I had to dig for it, like pedal. You know how you on the top of the surface, you look cool, but underneath it, you pedaling like hell. You trying to get, and I was down there like, and I was, and I wanted to fight because I've been working on my fight spirit. I went through all the grief. Then I got sad and I got depressed and I got angry. I went through all of the grief. Why, Lori? It's only $7,500. It's not just the money. It was, did I not choose the right person? What was it about you that I didn't see that you were going to possibly do this? She accused me of speaking to her indifferent one day. When did I do that? I'm assertive. You were lacking behind. All I said to you, you kept asking me a question. You kept asking me the same question. And I said, do your thing, girl. Greatness, do your thing. I promise you all, that's what I said. And what I meant, go do your thing. I paid you to do your thing. I invested my time with you to do your thing. That's why I didn't do it. Because I know how to actually build websites. Don't ask me how that happened. But in the business, you got to learn a few things. And I was like, do your thing. I want to see your creativeness. I want to see the dream come that you helped me build. So back to the point. That was an incredible breakdown. There is a temptation, next point, to blow it off when the dream is larger than you. There's a temptation to blow it off. Now you know how to stay focused. You understand grounding and meditation, and you don't understand it fully because there's so many pieces to that. But if you want to work with Girl Go Be Great Lifestyle Success Code, we're going to have our website up. It's going to be ready, but you're going to get that opportunity tonight. So I'm going to tell you how you can work with us, right? Even before the website launches. You can get your Dreamers Box. You can get me with the Dreamers Box as coaching, or you can also get VIP coaching. And we're going to talk about that. there's a temptation to blow it off when in fact it's extremely a large dream. And that's what I love about our next guest, because I know this before we bring her on. When we meditate, we practice getting in the vortex of connecting all of the things to the source energy that gave you the dream in the first place. And when we get in that vortex, in that pathway, so much happens, and it happens automatically. It just starts to move you in a very focused space. We've talked North Star. We've talked the greatest idea of your dream, which is you and what you can be. We talked about clarity. We talked about expansion, growth stages, expansion stages. And this is where I want to stop right here. I want you to get excited to feel this next dream talk. As we bring Julia in, you can bring Julia in. I can't wait to share with you this moment for a few minutes.
Hello. Hi, Lori. So good to see you.
Great to see you too, Julia. Great to see you. Well, we have a dog that wants to hang out in my room today.
A dog? Oh.
Yeah, my doggy. He's gone downstairs. He wants to have an argument with somebody, or he's excited about something. I think his dog food.
I'm excited about seeing you. I haven't seen you in a few years.
It has been a few years. I just really got so excited about us today. I had to stay calm. I had to get in a place of calm because I love your work. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you great. And I love your work. When I got the invitation and saw what this conference was all about, dreaming bigger and taking bold action and helping women who are ready to, take control of their lives. I absolutely love it and thought, who better to be putting this on than you?
Oh, thank you, Julia. It was definitely you as a thought. You were not an afterthought. You were at the top. It was tight in time, but I knew you could lend the best to this conversation. We just finished talking as we go right in about.
Fill me in. What's been going on?
We just finished talking just a few minutes for today's opening, which I always do the opening. Yeah. We talked about that.
And hi, everyone watching. A bunch of great names in the chat. Hi, Tanya.
Oh, yeah.
Hi. Who else is in there? I see Tanya. I see. How many people do we have on here?
I don't know because I'm on this end. Yeah, I don't know, but I can tell you we're streaming live on LinkedIn currently, right now.
Oh, amazing! Super.
Yeah, well, we are streaming at an app that takes us in Africa. That's where you may see some women there. We got UK women. We have women joining us through the email list. We're on Facebook as well as we're in our email community. So you won't see all the people. Plus, we're on YouTube. So they're joining in from everywhere.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for the update. I was just live on LinkedIn an hour ago. So I was teaching about sales. And then this is a great segue into how women can go big in all parts of the globe. So yes, please keep filling me in.
That is awesome, Julia. I think me and Ashley talked about it. We talked about, she said, Lori, did you see that Julia is doing sales training? I said, that's perfect. Without sales, we're missing the mark without sales.
Well, so few women have sales training. That's why I started teaching it, because most women who come to us at $1 Million Women want to make more money. And money, as we know, Lori, is about freedom. It's about choices. It's about being able to live the life you want. So we love helping women make more money. But if you're not trained in sales, then you're basically winging it. And that's how most women are getting through. I know that was me before I got sales training. And it's one of those things where once you get the sales training, you're like, oh, wait, these are actually skills that I could just learn and apply. It's not that hard. But I think it's our socialization. I'm sure we're going to get into it here in this chat.
No, you're doing right.
Not taught to think about that.
It really is. And we'll double back, because that's how I want to end. I want to end right there with why that's going to be important for her dreams to get into action. And it is one of them subjects that make women sweat on her armpits. It is one of those things that make her feel that worthiness conversation comes up, and, can I really, and then confrontation versus carefrontation, and all those questions. So
That's right. And we're such nurturers, right? When people get on sales calls with us, we want to kind of take care of them. Like, oh, well, let me help you fix that. And here's a book you can read. And we start giving out all these resources. And in fact, what we need to do is have the sales skills to get them into our world and help them for real, work with them. I'm just plugging in my mic. I realize here, we should have a little better sound with that.
Okay, wait a minute. I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up here also.
No, my mic just wasn't plugged in, but now it is.
Okay, there you go. I got you. Okay, perfect. I want to start with this. So your story is so rich and it's so vast. I want to start at the part, and then you can kind of taper back a little bit. You were on a path with Little Pim. You had a moment of deciding you were done, you were going to quit. It was too much. I want you to help women that are joining us start the dream when that moment, when it looks like you're going to quit, but then there's that magical thing happens, right? It happens. I always say it's magical. Dreams have magic in them, but magical is you have a conversation with this family member and something magically happened for you.
Yes. Well, I think you're referring to when I decided to raise capital for Little Pim.
Yes. Raise capital.
That's right. I hit that revenue ceiling that a lot of us hit as entrepreneurs. I started my dream business. I wanted to help parents teach their young children a second language at the age they learn best, which is 0 to 6. So French, Spanish, Italian, Chinese. I grew up speaking French as a second language. That opened so many doors for me. I got scholarships. I was able to live and work in France, in part because I was bilingual. So I wanted my kids to have that gift, and I wanted to give it to other parents. But I didn't go to business school. I didn't have a finance background. So when I started my business, it was just a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, which I'm sure everyone here who has a business can relate to. And that got us to about 400,000 in revenues, which you would think, all right, that sounds pretty good, 400,000. But we had inventory, we had marketing, we had a team. It really didn't go that far, the 400,000. And I was just throwing everything I had at it, Lori. I was in there at 7 a.m. I was coming home, putting my 2 little kids to bed and getting back on the computer. And I didn't have anything else to throw at it. And it was not budging, past that 400,000 mark. And I hit a low point where I was like, well, maybe I'm just not meant to be a CEO. I mean, my parents are academics, right? They're not entrepreneurs. I didn't really have any role models. And I thought maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But that was when, happily, I started going to entrepreneur programs, working with coaches and mentors. It's very much why I became a coach later, because I am so grateful to the people who helped me through that time. And it was also around that time, once I did get some help getting the revenues up, that I had the confidence to go to, he wasn't quite a family member, but he was almost like a family member. He was my best friend's from high school's father, who worked in hedge fund, banking world, investments, a world I knew very little about as the daughter of a single mom who was a teacher growing up in New York. But I sat down with him over lunch and I said, listen, I've been running this business. This is how far we've made it. And do you have any ideas of how I could get to that next place? I really want to grow this into a multi-million-dollar business. And, he looked at my budget. We talked it through and he said, well, I think it's time to raise capital. And I know some people who I could introduce you to, and let's get you that first $1 million into the bank to raise $1 million. So that was like, wow. I thought he was just going to say, here, apply for this grant or something. I didn't know what he was going to say. Now, of course, in my mind, it was like someone was going to write me $1 million check, right? That was the dream. That did not happen. That did not happen. But he did make introductions for me, and I pitched over and over and over again. Probably pitched 200 people, right, over the course of a few years. And we were able to raise 1.1 million in our first round, then another 1.1 million, ultimately over several years raised 6 million, grew that company into a multi-million-dollar business and sold it a few years later to our largest partner.
And guess what happened? I told this to Ashley. I'm on YouTube. I was looking at some political stuff and come strolling through my feed is this commercial, and they're talking about languaging for children, Little Pim. I thought, it was exciting to me And I really did act that way. I told Ashley that because I know that lady, right? I know that lady who created that. And so in that moment, it became really real. I mean, of course, we understood your story. We love the story. So let's go right in. I hope everyone, if you're
And
looking
we
at this
loved having
on,
you in our program. You were such a rock star. And I love how you're just paying everything forward to help so many women come into their full power. You are so powerful, Lori. And it's just such fun to be here with you today. So thanks
thank
for
you,
having me.
Julia. Well, I've been thinking, I told the group of girls earlier that came in early today, I said, I'm looking at who's going to help guide me with my newest mission as I go forward, because I am working with women in Canada. I'm working with women in Africa now and the UK. It's all very small groups. However, the mission is very clear for me, and the revenue goal is very clear for me. And the messaging that you worked with me on prior, you told me that was needed to be very clear. I've been
Yes.
working on those things. I was telling the girls today that I've read my Go
Go big
Big
now.
Now book. I'm still reading. I'm reading some parts over. I said to them, I said, these are the kind of trainings and the kind of moments, right, that allow you to keep expanding and so forth and so on. But I did a lot of talking that up only because it's a real experience for me. So I closed with this. I said, who's going to help guide me into this next phase of expansion? I have 5 years to create a $3.3 million net worth for my me and my business and the whole shebang. I got to work with women who not only get me, but get this thing I'm doing, right? So you're at the top of the list. You'll probably be seeing me soon in 25.
Love
I
it.
have two
I want to see you
coaches.
in person. Come to New
Yes,
York.
I'm headed to New York. I got to come do some New York. And so I was telling the group of women what you just stated. That moment when you went, no one wrote your check immediately. 1.1, 1 point something first you raised, but it took 3 years. 3 years. Women give up on the dream in 3 years. Can you
One
hear
more
me?
time. Sorry. I was having a little tech trouble here.
Okay,
One more time.
no worries. Women give up on the dream in 3 years. Okay, let's see.
Where did you
They
get
give
that
up on
stat?
the dream.
I'm just curious. I've
That's
never
right.
heard that. Women give up on the dream in 3 years, meaning what?
No, it was something I came up with just in our conversation. I think the
Oh,
3 year
okay.
mark gets real tough for them. They don't
Mm.
see themselves
Right. When
past
you
three
start
years.
something, there's all that excitement and enthusiasm, right? And then it
Mhm.
gets real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, gets real. Then you get a moment like yours, and you're going to expand it, and you're going to take it in, and now you got to navigate what you were told in that moment. What are you going to do with that? So I wanted you to share when women get really, before we go to that next really big part to help some expanding women with their dream. That's where I really want to stay. This next little part is to help every woman who's just on the ground level. She's trying to grow and peak and maybe had some decay and needed to rebirth the dream. You have your acronym, right? And that acronym helps women when they get unfocused, and you tell them not to think those particular thoughts, how to reframe her thoughts. Could you
Yes.
share with them the acronym?
With pleasure. Yes. So this is from the book Go Big Now, which is 8
Yes.
essential mindset practices to set big goals and overcome any obstacles. Because after I wrote Million Dollar Women, I went on a big speaking tour and I found that what many women were struggling with was mindset, right? We're so smart, we're so driven, we're willing to work twice as hard as everybody else, but we can get in our own way. And I know that was the case for me until I did a lot of mindset retreats and workshops and worked with coaches. So if you don't have thousands of dollars to go pay mindset coaches or to go to these conferences, you can read my book where I summarize a lot of the things that you can use into these 8 simple tools. And one of them is TBEAR that you're describing, Lori. So that's the acronym. It's TBEAR. And this is a great tool for unpacking how did I get the results that I have in my life currently? And if I want different results, what changes do I need to make in my thoughts? So let me unpack this for you a minute. Everything in your life that you have, the amount of money, the amount of love, the joy, the how you feel about your body, everything, it's all just a result. It's a result of some thoughts that you had over and over and over again. And so let's go through the acronym now. So if you have a thought over and over and over again, that's the T, then it becomes a belief, right? Like, oh, I'm not good at selling. Let's just take that one. A lot of women feel that way. Like, I love my products and services. I love my business. I love my clients, but I'm not good at the selling part. Have that thought over and over again, becomes a belief. That's the B of T-Bear, TB. Now, every belief has a positive emotion attached to it, like, hey, I'm great at this, or a negative emotion attached to it. I don't really like doing this, right? The belief that you're not good at sales, negative emotion attached to it. That's the E. So the E is the emotion. You've got a thought, T, over and over again, you think it, becomes a belief. Then it's got the emotion attached, either very positive or very negative. And that leads you to take a lot of action. That's the A of T-Bear, T-B-E-A-R. Or if it's got the negative emotion attached, now you're taking very little action. And you might get stuck, you might self-sabotage, or let's go back to the sales. If you don't like sales, how many cold calls are you going to be making? How many things are you posting on Instagram or LinkedIn saying, I've got this thing starting? Like, very few, right? Because of that belief with the negative emotion attached to it. And then you've got the results that come from that, right? Maybe you don't have as many clients as you want. Maybe your business is not making the kind of money you want. So if you want different results, then you have to go all the way back to the thoughts and get a new thought that starts a new chain. Even if you have to force it a little bit at first, I always say, like, go out for coffee with someone or have a phone call with someone who has a different result than you have, where you want their result. Like, let's say you want to be better at sales. You want to sit down with as many people as you can who are good at sales and love sales and ask them, like, what do you think about when you think about sales? And I guarantee it's going to be completely different than what you're thinking about sales. And because they've got those different thoughts, like, sales is fun. Sales is serving people. Sales is like a Rubik's Cube I get to solve every day, right? If you have that thought over and over again, well, then your belief is, hey, this is fun. This is cool. This is a challenge. Very positive emotion attached. How many sales calls are you going to make then? A lot, right? Because this is fun. This is something I enjoy. And then you're going to get those results of having more clients, more chances to get those yeses. So that's T-Bear. And if you're watching from home and you have a little piece of paper, or you want to just take out a note in your phone, just write down T-B-E-A-R. It's best if you write it vertically. And I invite you to later on run this on something in your life that you're not that happy with the result. Start with the R and work your way back. And you will figure out all by yourself how you got here. And then you'll know what your next step is, which is, okay, it's that thought that's messing me up right at the beginning of this chain. And either you can change it on your own, or you seek the help of someone like Lori or someone like me or a therapist or a mentor and say, hey, I got to change this up. I've used this so many times in my life, Lori. I mean, I remember actually opening up my own book at one point, being like, wait, how's it work again? I got to change this up. You know, anything I don't like, I run this, and that's how I get the different results.
T-Bear is important to me as well. It's real. It's real. And it may be.
Share a little bit about how you use it. That might help people at home who are watching.
Absolutely. That's what I was about to ask you, because I want to close out with finding the right strategy, right? And sales. And I want to talk to women who are in that space who are joining us, because I've actually seen a few that came in earlier. They have businesses, and I know a little bit about their businesses. So T-Bear for me, I wrote down just a second ago, this is where I start with the R every time. And I work my way back. We learned that in your accelerator. And I remember feeling I was in a really tough place when I came in your accelerator. And I was telling my daughter, Jessica, I said, do you remember the graciousness that Julia team gave me? You know, they gave me graciousness and they loved on me and every woman there, right? And all I know is this: when I'm in a place where I don't feel like I am literally getting it, I don't get it, like I'm creating it. That was one of my issues in the program. You know, I got these incredible ideas. Like I tell the women, I'm a visionary, but I got to get clear. And my work has been getting clear for the last few years. Is the thing stuck? Okay, she's stuck. Oh goodness, she's stuck. She's stuck, everybody. The last few years. And I just want to let you know that I've used T-Bear in a way that has not only worked for me to see where am I stuck at? Like, does this make sense? And then I reverse it and I go into then checking myself with the emotion. I check the result first. Like, I'm not seeing the result. Like, why am I not seeing the result? Why am I so confused? I know this stuff. I always said it to myself, why am I so confused? So I know Julia has to run. She has 3 more meetings. She's in New York City. I will definitely make sure we can maybe do, I get some audio from her or something. We will figure out something, but I want you to get that book. I want you to get the Go Big Now book. Okay. I want you to get the book. I want you to trust me. Give me 1 second. One of the key things I want you to do is I want you to read more. And when you read more, you gain more. You gain more expansion to the world. And your dreams are stuck in that expansion, right? You may need right strategy. That's what Julie and I were going to talk about, because she's made some incredible right strategies. I wouldn't have invested $5,000 in her program in the pandemic if I didn't believe that. I learned so many valuable things in that program. It was only like 5 women there, and why did I say the cost, and why did I share that? I shared that not to impress you, but to impress upon you, you're going to have to start to invest more than you've ever. So we're reconnecting. Okay, are we connected now? Can someone let me know if you're still here with us? Okay, we're still here. Okay. So you're going to have to invest more than you've ever invested. Julia is back, Jessica. Okay,
we're
awesome.
blowing up the universe, Lori. We're making too much energy here. It just
That's
blew
what
me
we're
right
doing.
offline.
And I love it when the energy is moving. I just
That's
kept
right.
moving.
Well,
shared
I know
with
you can.
them.
I know you can vamp. I was like, she'll be fine. She's just gonna talk
I was
until
fine.
I come
And
back.
I went on and I did T-Bear. I told them about how I used it and with my results and how I flipped it and what I learned. So in
Oh, I
closing,
love that. I
and
remember
thank you,
that story.
Julia,
Yes.
for just being a
That's right.
woman who's committed to her dreams. How do women who are in the upper level, right? They look like me in terms of where I was and where they're going, going to grow and expand. And they want to go to those 6 figures, those 7 figures. Their businesses are not getting the results. They're working at it. They're working the dream, like you said, doing the things. They're missing some components. What's the right strategy for them? You've been teaching it.
Well, I always like to say, just because you don't know the answer doesn't mean no one knows the answer. So that's an important thing to keep in mind, because we can get so stuck like, well, this just isn't working. And maybe I made the wrong decision, or maybe like I felt many years ago, right, with my first business, well, maybe I'm just not cut out to be a CEO. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves to just ask better questions, right? Like maybe the question isn't like, well, why am I not getting to 400,000 in revenues? Maybe the question is, who do I need to be in the room with in order to be a 7-figure CEO? Right? Because often we have to change up our social circles, change up our thoughts, and that requires being around different people. I know for me, joining an entrepreneurs organization that had a lot of people who were way ahead of where I was very motivating. It pulled me forward. It gave me friendships with people who had done things I could only dream of doing. And so that's a big thing I would recommend, is to go join organizations where you can be with people who are ahead of where you are. And so, again, love your initiative. People are in lots of different communities. We have women in our $1 Million Women community who are in 3 or 4 other communities. That's great, right? Whatever resonates with you.
That's
I
great.
do think sales training is essential, and that's why it's become my new passion over the last couple of years. We're still running our signature accelerator program that you took part in. We have 750 grads of that, and 15% of those women have gotten to 1 million. So we're so proud of them. Can't wait to add you to that number, Lori. Full confidence.
I'm coming 25.
You're coming. We got room for you in the $1 Million Club. But in the meantime, we had a lot of women who had never recovered from the pandemic, right? And where revenues were just not where they needed to be. And we have a lot of single moms and supporters of their families. And so I thought, let me just teach these sales skills since I have closed $32 million in business and selling products and services. And I was like, let me teach you the skills. So we're doing that through our online program, Sales Cure. It's just sales dash cure, C-U-R-E. That is the method that I teach. And we have some live programs too, but you can also just do it on your own time. And it's all supplemented. So our costs are kept artificially low since we're a social venture. So
Right.
for a fraction of what women are paying elsewhere, they can actually get the sales training and start bringing in the bucks, because money
That's
is
great.
freedom and money is choices.
Money is freedom and money is choices. And we're going to make sure you get the link so you can get to Sales Cure. I sold houses, so I know the understanding around sales. And I know why so many women who I used to meet in real estate, Julia, that just really did not do well in real estate because she just could not understand the basic stuff. But it was more than that. It was her worthiness issue, would come up.
Oh, that all
Those,
comes up in sales.
yeah, all in sales, it all comes up. And
It
that's
does.
that's what we got to work on. That
And it's
success
skills
story.
for life, because even if you change jobs or you
Yeah.
don't have your own business anymore, you decide to start your own business,
Mhm.
sales is essential to success in all of those areas. But so I would say, sales, but also definitely mindset. And so thank you for bringing that up here, because
You're
I think
welcome.
that's the piece of the puzzle people don't talk about enough, right? We all know that Nike slogan, just do it, right? Just do it. And I like to say, well, that's about 10% of success. Deciding to do it is about 10%.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
90% is shifting your mindset, getting the skills, getting into the right rooms.
Mhm.
But you're not even going to go into those rooms or seek out those skills if you don't up level your mindset, because you'll be too
Absolutely.
intimidated. You'll think I don't belong. So
Mm.
that's what I would love to see more women doing, is just really doing that mindset work like you did. And we're now benefiting from
Yes.
that, Lori. So thank you for all the
Thank you.
self work that you did.
Well, this is what I'll close with. When I see you networking, right? You're a do it first kind of girl, right? You do it first and you stay in movement, you stay in action. A lot of women struggle with time poverty. She struggles with staying in action, so she doesn't really know how. That's what we've been teaching her for the last 3-4 days. Woo, everything from how to balance, how to get out in nature, how to connect with self. We've been teaching all the things, resistance,
Love it.
not you name it. But one of the things we didn't talk about that I say for you, just like 1 minute of your time, I know you got to run. When a
Go for it.
woman is sitting inside of this staying in action, women are suffering, especially post pandemic, from some social anxiety. And so now
Yes.
she's trying to find her way back out there. Some women have developed disorders actually around it. The research has shown me was really, really eye-opening.
I think I developed one, Lori. I'm the most extroverted person I know. And after the pandemic, I would go to those events, right? Those first few after the pandemic, like, I got to go talk to all those people. What are we going to talk about? So I get it. I get it. You can
Yeah.
lose those skills.
And so I was going to go there. You were with me.
Let's go
Is it
there.
a skill? Is it a skill that needs to be developed? Is it okay that you don't have it and you can get it? It's available to you. How does she get from I'm not that. I'm an introvert, right? I don't like people, right? I don't know. And all of those things. What would she do to build some momentum to get in the world of living? Because now the internet and these type of experiences have also been a concern. So how do we do that?
Well, I think it goes back to the mindset behind the networking.
Mhm.
If you're going to network just because, oh, I should network, right? And, oh, I better exchange some business cards with some people, that's very transactional. And that's not going to feel good, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. I do all of my networking and also my posting to social media and all the things you see me do, right? I'm doing all the things, LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube and live events and all that. I do it all from the place of a Rumi quote that I love. Rumi, the philosopher, the Persian philosopher.
Yep.
And, I'm a quote junkie. I love quotes. And this is my favorite. And I actually have it framed in my living room. And the quote says this: what you seek is seeking you.
Yes.
What you seek is seeking you. And if you really absorb that and own it, meaning there are people waking up every day looking for the help that you provide, then what your job becomes is to be findable. That's our job as professionals and entrepreneurs. Be findable, right? Forget all these terms, marketing, sales, blah, blah, blah. Like, how are all these people who need you going to find you? If you don't go to that party, maybe there's someone who's desperately in need of the services you provide. She's at that party, but you didn't go because you don't like networking, right? So this reframes it into, okay, I have these gifts and talents. And if you don't already own your gifts and talents, and do some work on that first, right? Because everybody watching has gifts and talents to share with the world. That's correct. Right? And then there are other people looking for those very gifts and talents. So let's just make ourselves findable. And that is a place to do networking from. And I did write a little article when I was having my own social anxiety about networking called, Can We Make Networking Less Awkward? with my own strategy for networking, which is on our blog. So it's just at millionwomen.com. Click on blog. It'll pop right up. I'll get there. My ACE method for networking, ACE. You know, I love the acronyms. It's another acronym. Yeah, you do. Don't even remember what it stands for, but it's all in the article. And that has helped some women to kind of get back out there from this place of what you seek is seeking you.
Oh, that's how we'll end. What you're seeking is seeking you. Because guess what I'm about to go into? The power of law of attraction. That's what I'm teaching next.
Oh, I teed you up for that.
Definitely, you got me right there. That's how I know. Awesome. Energetic connections, they are real. Vibrationally, they are real, and they're spiritual, but they're real. Because you didn't know that's what I was teaching next.
I did not. I love that. Well, you know what? I always say to my coaching clients, and I'm sure I said it to you, you manifested me. So good job, right?
Thank
you wanted the help so much that you pulled me into your universe. And I'm so grateful you did, because I loved getting to know you as a human being and work with you on your business. So proud of what you're building here and sharing with all these amazing women.
Thank you.
So everybody here can manifest what they need. And it sounds like your next thing is helping them figure out how to do that.
That's it, Julie. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So good to see you. Love seeing you. We'll be in touch. I want to see you in New York. And for everybody watching, connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to know more about what you're up to, and we can share that way. Bye, Lori. Thank you for having me. Okay.
Thank you, Julia. Tell your team I said thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Woo! I love these conversations. Make sure you get your book. Make sure you get your book. Our next dream speaker is coming on at 2:50 Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, what we're going to do, we're going to keep going. We're going to go in on a tap into manifestation. Laws of attraction. We're going to take a quick break. I would like for my team to let the world know that we will be starting back up the afternoon session at 1:30. 1:30. We're going to close out right now, and we're going to then come back at 1:30. Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to come back at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. So if you ever want to let the world know, the next session will be on the power of laws of attraction and manifestation taught by Lori Pelzer. The law of attraction and manifestation taught by Lori Pelzer. I'll see you back at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll have our final speaker for the midday session, Allie from the UK, at 2:50 Eastern Standard. I'll see you back, Girl Greatness. Take care. 2 p.m.